Welcome to the Daily Combat Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Stockbridge. Joining me, as always, is Hollywood Matt Connelly. The double biceps are out in force. So we've got one of the biggest arm wrestling matches, or certainly one of the most anticipated arm wrestling matches of all time, perhaps coming up very, very soon. And the two biggest names in arm wrestling history are going to collide. Now, strangely enough, for those people that are watching from home who aren't familiar with these two chaps, this in arm wrestling is an elite athlete, as a matter of
That's what an elite athlete looks like.
That's what an elite arm wrestler looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'll also just add that this particular man, Devon Larratt, just a matter of weeks ago found himself in a boxing ring with Hap Thor. Yeah. It lasted a round or two, but, against the strongest man in the world. He's never had any professional fighting experience or anything like that, but threw himself in when the Eddie Hall fight fell apart. Yeah. All credit to him. But this is an elite athlete in the world of arm wrestling in 2021. Now, Devin Larratt, I guess, would be known as the number 2 GOAT.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so... but the number 1 GOAT is a very different man. So that's John Brzenk, and those two will meet over the table very, very soon. So, Matt, perhaps share with us some of your early thoughts on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. John Brzenk, the legend... I think he went 25 years or something unbeaten in super matches. One of the best athletes to have ever competed in any sport, especially combat sport. Coming back out of retirement, he was sort of retired for maybe 4 or 5 years of no active competition. I think he had a few injuries to deal with. He's late 50s now, I believe, and just recently sort of started dipping his toe back in the arm wrestling world.
We'll have that come up on the screen.
Yeah, cool. So he started a YouTube channel. Finally, I don't think he's that keen to talk to media, and I think from what he said in the past, he said, I've said everything I need to say to the arm wrestling community, I have spoken to media for years and years and years, and if you want to know any of my thoughts, just go back and watch any of my old interviews. But, the community loves him, and for good reason. He seems like such a wonderful guy, always humble, and being, around the 85, 90 kilo mark and beating some of the absolute mass monsters of the world, 130, 140 kilos. So he's sort of sitting in the light heavyweight ranks and still defeating the heavyweight and super heavyweight champions.
And this is John Brzenk on the left of screen?
Yeah.
On the right of screen if you're watching from home. So.
Yeah, so he is beating a very good American there. His name's Paul Lynn. So this only happened, I think, on the weekend. So this was Sunday's match.
So John Brzenk's nearly 60.
Yeah.
Looks in fantastic shape there, by the way. Has, up until a matter of months ago, it was not thought that he'd be returning to top-level competition. Yeah. And then in a matter of the last month or two, has taken on several very high-ranking arm wrestlers in America. Yep. Paul Lynn just on the weekend, obviously no pushover, but the greatest of all time comes back and shows him how it's all done.
Yeah, so the exciting thing is because John started this YouTube channel, and I think he sort of realised how much people love him. He's got millions of fans. He got thousands and thousands of subscribers within the first couple of days of starting his channel. And he'd do a live stream, and people are just throwing money at him. You can donate to on YouTube. If somebody's live streaming, you can put a $5 donation, $10 donation. And when you're watching his streams, it's like ching, 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 ching. Like, people are giving him money. They love him. They think he's amazing. He is amazing. So because of that, I think it's re-inspired his love for arm wrestling. He's taken on, this is his second match back. So Paul in here, he had another match a few weeks back against another one of the guys there. He actually pulled in a tournament that they had there, a bit of a tester. Obviously won that one as well. And beat one of the top guys that was in that area. Then he's had this match here against Paul Lynn. And then he's come forward and said, by the way, Devin Larratt, I'm not hanging back waiting till I get to top form. Let's just do it now. And so Devin's awesome. Devin will take on anybody anywhere. He's going, I'm game. Let's do it. And so that's the match. Devin Larratt one of the best guys in the world taking on one of the best guys in the world.
Now, Devin Larratt just recently took on and became the number one right arm in the world in the Western world anyway, after taking on Michael Todd, and in quite convincing form. And I don't think a lot of people anticipated that. But in order to do that, it seems that Devin pulled out all stops. He put on a stack of weight.
A stack of pancakes.
A stack of pancakes. But he was huge.
Yeah.
He was huge. Now, to me, so this was maybe say it must be about 8 weeks ago that.
On the Devin and Michael match?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably a few months ago now. But
Okay,
he did have the boxing match with Thor, strongest man in the world.
That's right. And I thought that in that particular when Devin faced Michael, the physical transformation in the lead up to that 8 or so weeks as he was working up to that was quite extraordinary.
Oh yeah.
And then just a matter of weeks later, he was in a boxing match with Thor,
Yeah.
and seemed to have pruned down a little bit, and now seems to be sitting at a comfortable weight. Do you anticipate that he'll be putting on any weight in order to take on John Brzenk, or do you think he'll meet John Brzenk at around at a reasonable weight?
I think that he put on that extra weight against Michael for a specific purpose. He knew that Michael was going to use a certain move, the King's move, and to overcome that, he needed to have that extra body weight to get the technique to work that he needed to work. And to get that technique to work, he needed more mass, more body weight, more support around the joint. With John Brzenk, John is a different style of puller to Michael Todd. Michael Todd uses the King's move, and John Brzenk is obviously well famed for a top roll or a hook, and I don't think he's going to be hooking with Devin based on previous match experience where he's struggled against Devin in hook positions. He's going to be top rolling, I would say.
So hungry.
We're getting ads, yeah.
That's
why. But so the big challenge here for Devin, I don't think it's going to be that he needs to have that mass. He's going to have a weight advantage over John regardless. John isn't a mass monster. John's 80, 90 kilos, and he's not going to get much bigger than that throughout his career. He's always stayed around that mark. So Devin adding weight, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. He's already going to have a significant weight difference and weight advantage. He's going to be focusing on certain strategies, and it's probably going to be anti-top roll technique, because John is a master. His wrist and his hand is, world champion level and remains world champion level for a good reason, and that's why he was undefeated for 25 years or whatever it was. And so for Devin to go into that, he's going to know, well, these are the things that John's going to be pulling out. It's going to be a top roll. I need to focus on my training on that, and whether I need to put mass on for that, probably not.
Okay, so how are you calling this one?
I think Dev's going to win.
Okay,
I think it's too soon.
Who do you want to win though?
Oh, I love both guys.
Okay,
Devon's the first guy. Devon's the first guy I ever arm wrestled.
That's right. Yeah.
That's such a nice guy. Like, so awesome and friendly, and like he stayed. He did the seminar, and then he was there for maybe 4 hours.
Yeah,
arm wrestled everyone just multiple times, and his arm didn't move. We just put like a bionic arm there, and then that's what it felt like. But amazing guy. Every video you see, he's friendly to people. He's really pushed arm wrestling. He's become the number one face of arm wrestling.
I think so. I don't think there's anybody that's perhaps more recognisable in the sport right now than Devin Larratt, and I think that for most people, their first point of contact with arm wrestling is on YouTube, and then not long thereafter, people are discovering Devin Larratt.
That's right.
And he's without doubt the most charismatic man in the sport, I would say, and the strongest personality, and definitely very, very much well loved in the community as well.
For sure.
But then there's John Brzenk. He's just almost got a godlike glow about him, hasn't he?
That's
and
right.
I think everybody would just quietly love to see John Brzenk win this. But
yeah, for sure. I'd love to see it as well. I just don't think that he has enough time to be able to come back. I mean, you're taking on one of the best tacticians, the best strategic pullers ever in Devon. And it's like, yes, you've beaten Paul Lynn. Yes, you've won the local tournament. But It's a long time of retirement to come back and take on that level of competition this quickly. I think in a year's time, and depending on how his results went, I would have based my decision differently.
Yeah.
But this quickly, it's the same decision I made when Devon said he was going to fight Thor on 6 weeks' notice. And it's like, sure, you got a special forces background, but you haven't got a boxing background. And it's 6 weeks, and Thor's been boxing for 2 or 3 years or something, like leading up to this.
Yeah.
He's had several matches. So
what comes after this for both athletes? So previous to this, it seemed that the arm wrestling community desperately wanted to see Devon versus Levan. That was the match everybody wanted to see, as unlikely as it seemed to be that was likely to happen. But that was what people wanted to see, essentially to decide who's number one in the world. Yeah. This has come up, which is obviously captured the imagination of the arm wrestling world, but for completely different reasons. Yeah. So John Brzenk wins, hypothetically. Where does that leave the conversation about what comes next?
I don't think it harms either guy.
Right.
I don't think either guy has anything to prove at all. They both are absolute world champions and have been for multiple years across multiple federations. And it's sort of like, if Devon loses, hey, you lost to one of the best of all time. If John loses, it's like, well, you lost to one of the best of all time. There's no downside to this. It's all upside. It's one of them. This is what's great about putting on this match. You've got two of the best guys in the world. They both said, I want to go against you, and yes, I want to do that too. Let's put it together. Let's put it together straight away, and we'll get it going. And that's what you want to see.
I guess what's really interesting about this was that it was only a matter of maybe a year or two ago that people were thinking that Devin Larratt was all washed up and that his best years were behind him, and that we weren't going to see a top end Devin Larratt back on the table anytime soon. And just in the last 6 months, we've seen maybe Devin at his best, people were saying that about John Brzenk 7 or 8 years ago. He's hit his peak. It's all downhill from here, and now he's got a chance to take out the number one placing once more.
Exactly. Well, I mean, combat sport fans are very fickle, and you're only as good as your last performance.
Indeed.
So if you lost your last match, that's the only thing that people will remember.
Yeah, indeed.
Whereas, so Devin lost against Michael Todd probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And lost the lineal belt, and essentially.
And then, I think he said himself that he lost a bit of motivation for the sport. But then when the opportunity came up to go against Michael again, and it was in Abu Dhabi, and it was going to be a big thing, and Larry Wheels was helping, and it was a big chance for him to make a comeback and sort of recapture that excitement, and he did. I mean, that's why he put on that mass and he was training so hard, because it was like, this is an opportunity, this is something different, something new, something exciting, and it's a guy that I've lost to, so I want to avenge that loss. Exactly. Yeah. And so for him to go against John, it's two of the best guys, and this is exactly what everyone in the world wants to see. There should never be a federation or contracts that prevent people from being able to go, the two best guys in the world want to go against each other. They want to do it tomorrow. Can we do it?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, no. It's like, just put it on. Everyone will watch it. You know what I mean? And that's what they've done here, which is amazing. And it's like, okay, John Brzenk, Devin Larratt, couple of months, it's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome.
Is this happening through WAL, or is this just independent? Or
it's in Abu Dhabi again.
It's in Abu Dhabi, so this is a Larry Wills promoted event. So isn't it really interesting that some of the best matches in the world are now being held outside of these federations, organisations, and traditional competitive leagues?
There's a good reason.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, the reason is because they're preventing the best matches from happening.
Yeah.
Levan should have gone against Michael Todd.
Yeah.
That should have happened.
It's what the arm wrestling world wanted.
That's right. And then that didn't happen, and they were both together there in Abu Dhabi at the same time. And they were photos together. Yeah. They got photos on a table together with their hands together.
They touched.
They can't pull for contractual reasons. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Devin and Michael gets put together instead. Okay, well, that's a match everyone wants to see. We'll put it together. We'll go and watch it. Watched it. Okay, now Devin's the guy. Well, do you want Devin to go against Levan? Oh, well, there's all these other things happening. And, okay, well, you're going to make it hard? We're going to put Devin against John Brzenk. And it's going to be amazing. And it's like, there's no third party that is making the dominating call on the conversation and saying, you're not allowed to go against that guy. You're not allowed to go against that guy. It's like, who are you, mate? We're the people that are pulling in these matches. We want to he's the best, I'm the best. Well, we want to go and we're going to do it. You get to say what we do. So,
well, Matt, you're famous for being the most prolific matchup maker, arm wrestling matchmaker in the world in 2021. Right. I don't think anybody else has matched up as many super matches as what you have in 2021. So it's a fair statistic. But you're also instrumental in putting together local rankings. Now, if you were the guy that was doing that internationally right now, where does the top 5 sit for you?
I know everyone wants Levan to be number 1.
Yep.
And I think he is there, but there's an asterisk.
Okay. So it's number 1 with an asterisk.
It's number 1 with the asterisk, and the asterisk is he has not faced the top guys in the US or in North America. So he hasn't faced Devin, he hasn't faced John, he hasn't faced Michael Todd, he hasn't faced those absolute pinnacle guys. He has beaten some of the top guys from the US, not the absolute best in the US.
Yeah.
So it is difficult to say because you've got 2 leagues. You've got Levan at the top of the Russian and European leagues, but he hasn't competed against the top of the North American leagues.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 separate ranking systems, really. And then you're sort of using your opinion as to, well, if he went against them, and it's like hypothetical. So for me, Levan's probably number 1.
Okay.
He's looked incredibly strong. He beat one of the Dave Chafee recently, 6-0, dominated him completely. Dave's one of the best guys in the US, probably sitting in 4th, 5th position. But it's like you haven't gone against the number 1, the number 2, number 3 of the US. So to say, yes, you're number 1 in the world, that's why there's an asterisk.
Okay, so number 1 with an asterisk. Number two would be then.
I'd say Devin.
You'd say say Devin number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3, Michael Todd.
Michael Todd number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. From there, it sort of gets a little
murky, a little style orientated. Depends on who's on the table against who at the same time.
Exactly.
But that's the definite worldwide top 3.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Yep.
Your top guys, the guys from the WOW that you're going to be familiar with. Your Todd Hutchings, your Jerry Cataretts, Dave Chafees, those guys are in that top 10 no matter where they are around the world.
Yeah.
And when you look in the European League, there's a whole bunch of absolute killers over there. But again, until they get that promotion and the ability to watch their matches easily and for free, and regularly, so you can build a star and build a character and build a narrative. Until that happens, that does have an influence on the ranking. Because if you have a star that might be ranked 20th or, is out of that top discussion, and it's like, say like Lachlan Adair, right? So he's an amazing athlete, just competed.
140 kilos, from what I understand.
The sound went when I heard this. So,
Sorry, Lachlan.
113 kilos.
113 kilos.
Yeah, exactly. Not 140, like I said.
As may have been reported.
So, he might be in the top 20 in the world. And we won't know that until he gets against these other top guys. But because he's having these sort of matches against like Ryan Bowen and, it was on YouTube, it was promoted, it was exciting, there was a character, there was a narrative, there was bad blood, there was a pushing match. People watched that. They were interested. They know who he is now.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put him against one of these top guys, people want to see it because they go, oh, I know who that guy is. And, he's going against, let's say, Todd Hutchings.
Yeah.
Like Todzilla. It's like, oh, that's an exciting match.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's an unknown who might be a better arm wrestler
Yeah.
versus Todd Hutchings, it's like, I have no idea who that is.
You know what I'm super excited for in the combat sports world over the next 6 to 12 months is as we start to discover some of those people that the world doesn't know about yet that have just been training away in their cellar, in the dark corners of gyms around the world, somewhere in Central Asia.
Spiderwebs.
Yeah. Just working out and somebody's just going to come out and do amazing things. It's as we come out of the pandemic, anything is possible. But so your call on John Brzenk and Devon Larratt is
Devon by confident destruction.
Okay,
and I really mean that. I think Devon's got easily win.
Okay.
Only based on the fact that John hasn't had enough time to come back.
Yeah, it seems that even in a situation like that, it's not going to stop arm wrestling fans watching, though.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
Exactly, and that's the key thing. Everyone wants to see it.
Yeah.
I don't care what the result is. I just want to see you guys get on and have a good match.
I think we're going to do some live commentary for that event when it comes up as well. I think it's going to be warranted. So
everyone's going to go, Matt, you were wrong. You're an idiot.
You're right. Yeah, John Brzenk won.
And Lachlan's not 140 kilos.
Thanks, Lachlan, for the clarification, by the way. Yeah.
What's your pick? Your pick.
I think Devin Larratt is going to win convincingly, especially after seeing the last match with Todd Hutchins. Michael Todd. Leading up to Michael Todd and Levan, it seemed to be that Levan. There was that moment in Larry Will's gym when Larry Wills was. Michael Todd was in the room and Larry Wills was in the room, and for those unfamiliar with Larry Wills, an immensely strong individual, huge YouTube, massive following.
Small guy though.
Yeah, small calves. But he
140 kilos.
For 140 kilos. He's a small guy at 10% body fat. Yeah. Larry Wills is gripping up with Levan and looking like a child, by the way, at 140 kilos against Levan, who must be 165, 185 kilos in that shape, and literally looks like Shrek, and Larry Wills. Was not getting any purchase at all, and so got some bands around him and got a little bit of movement, and then got all the bands around him and got nowhere. Got nowhere with Levan and Michael Todd went, hey, let's have a go. I'll have a go with you. And so Larry Wills kind of got himself all tied up again with all of the bands to create the same pressure as what he would have with Levan, and Michael Todd had nothing. Like his arm just collapsed under all of that, and yet Levan was just holding it with side pressure, And you kind of thought, oh, Michael Todd's in a lot of trouble unless he's got something special going on. Because he's really only got the one move, so unless he's come up with something else, he was always going to struggle. And the more technical fight would have been that with Devon and Levan, and then you've got that highly technical, strong guy who's got some physical. Attributes that may be beneficial as well in terms of height and arm length and the like that Michael Todd doesn't. Michael Todd looks more like a normal human being, even though he's 6'3", 6'4", and 260 pounds. So as much as a normal human, but he looks normal. Right. But Devin Larratt's got like a different type of proportion. He's almost like the if you had to build a silicon life form to be an arm wrestler, you'd build it something along the lines of Devin Larratt, where you've got those long arms and that frame that you can fill out and shrink down depending on who your opponent might be. And so I thought Devin Larratt was the only chance of stopping somebody like Levan, because he's got the physical attributes and the technical knowledge in order to work his way through perhaps the strength that's in front of him in a way that Michael Todd couldn't, but still not convinced. But John Brzenk, I don't think, is any chance against Levan, and so that's why I'm running with Devon on this one, and we'll see what the big fight brings.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Levan and Devon.
Levin and Dev. Yeah, Levin Dev.
I would have loved to have seen Levan versus Michael Todd.
Just to sort it out.
Well, no, because to sort it out. But the technical difference of pulling in Michael Todd's King's move. Could Levan have handled it? It is such a different technique that if you're not used to it, if you don't understand it, you will lose to it. And confusingly why. And you'll waste your energy up against it.
And what was the key here in Devon's...
So Devon actually said to Michael after the match, this is what's exciting about arm wrestling, is that you'll happily tell your opponent what the strategies you used and show them how they can get better.
Yeah,
you'd never see in any other sport.
No,
it's like going into a boxing match and they go, "Oh, when you did, I was doing that because of this, and you shouldn't do this." And then it's like, "Oh, I'm going to use that to beat you next time." so in their match, Devon and Michael Todd, when Devon won, He said after the match, I beat you with riser. What riser is where you're lift. It's like a hammer curl, pulling your fist back towards your face, not allowing Michael Todd to get the position he needed to get into his King's move effectively. And that was the difference. It's sometimes in arm wrestling, that inch is everything. And that's what it was. Devon figured it out. He's like, this is what Michael needs. I'm not going to let him get it. And to do that, I need to put on mass. I need to put more support around my joint, which is why he put on that extra weight. And then in the match, he straight away prevented Michael from getting his move and just rolled straight through. And that's what he did over and over. Whether Levan would have been able to figure that out, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, Michael certainly didn't. But whether or not Devon would have been strong in the same areas, it's a difficult one. And maybe we'll never know.
Oh, man. What a missed opportunity.
Yeah. So there you have it. There's the biggest matchup in arm wrestling history about to take place between the greatest of all time and the second greatest of all time. So we'll see who the greatest is in 2021 very, very soon.
Thank you.